So what's up? How you doing today? We are going to take a look at Slave to the Traffic Light and the bass parts on here. This is going to be a real loose guide, and it's not going to be exactly what Mike does on the tune, but just give you the framework of what's going on. And I think of it as three kind of different grooves. You know, there's the very open sound is how it starts and the jam is, and that's the bulk of the tune. Then there's the very tight, kind of more reggae sound, and then there's the very heavy first guitar solo section as well. So those are the three kind of grooves, three feels. So we're going to think of it that way, and that'll help us kind of glue things together and piece all these different pieces of the puzzle together. But let's give a listen of me playing with the backing track from the intro, kind of through the verse, right up to the first chorus, the Slave to the Traffic Light part. And then I'm going to break down what's going on. We're skipping that little beginning part with the guitar and stuff, but when the band kicks in, we'll start it right there and see what's going on. So Trey does his thing there in the intro, and then the band kicks in right here, and right in a D chord, and I'm calling it 7/4. I'm actually not even sure. I couldn't figure out exactly this one measure what the time signature is, but it's a weird feel. It takes a little bit to get exactly the timing down, but comes in right in the D, and then just outlines it fifth to the octave, and then goes E to A. And that's like outlining the A chord here that we're going to go into, which this is also in A, by the way. It's kind of a mix a little bit between like A mixolydian based on the way the chords are, but I wouldn't get too much into the mode. It's not like a super modal kind of tune, but we'll get more into kind of some scales stuff we can mess around with as we go on. So don't worry about that too much. But anyways, yeah, you're doing that. Now the fifth of A, and then it leads in there. So you've got. And then we're into the tight, so that's the open sound. Here's the tight sound. We've got, and this is where it's gets loose. It's basically just, you think of it as A to G, right? And we're just playing this reggae thing. You can play the G here, play it down here. Doesn't matter too much. There's just stuff where I'm gonna keep it kind of loose, but just know it's A to G. And then it just opens up, and you can play it still here, A, or just open A, and I'm saying he's doing lots of A pentatonic fills, so he's and still just hang on at A, so it's going to G, but it's really more of a pedal playing over the A, and you'll see as we go along, it's a kind of a theme where, you know, it's not always touching upon the chords, it's kind of just a little bit, and then it's like painting around, and then especially in the jam section, we'll get more into that, but we'll do that last, you know. And but anyways, so it's playing a G over an A, so it's kind of everyone's playing a G chord, but with that A in the bottom, and then D to E, and if you want to, you know, put the octaves there, and it does that 4 times, right, and then back to the tight groove reggae thing, right? And that's it. And now let's give the chorus a listen to, and then we'll see what's going on with that. So chorus is back to the open sound, and it's just essentially A and G. You can play it however, you know. I like to kind of like play open A, this, oops, like that, you know, and then that's giving it more this bigger open sound. I got lots of A pentatonic fills, and then that 7/4 measure is kind of like the intro, but he's climbing up all the times. But again, every version is going to be different. But this was taken actually from the live one version I was referencing a little bit, learning the tune. Back to the verse, or I should say to the verse, which really just is one time. It's just back to the same thing with this groove, except the second measure, E and D, just real quick, two of them. Just 2 times this, and then back to the open sound, but now it's something different. It's E to D going, or except it's not playing here. It's playing he plays it up here, so it goes E the 5th to D, and then a lot of D major pentatonic fills like really fast. So. You know, stuff like that. You know, it's not exact mic stuff, but just things like that, you know. So 3 times of that, and then real hard hits of F, G, A. 3 times of that, and then just F, G, and then on to the next section. Let's give that a listen to, the real heavy part, and then there's a little bit of stuff after that. Listen to, and then I'll break that down, and the next thing you know, we're into the jam. So this is like probably so far the least, you know, kind of a distinct thing. It's just playing around E minor, and I just hear it as, you know, he's outlining the E minor chord a lot, but he's just kind of playing around E minor scale and kind of just slinking around, just. So you're just playing around, you know, with that scale. Just kind of, you know, get familiar with the way. This is a good excuse if you don't know your E minor scale that well. Start learning it and get to know around. You don't have to know the whole map, you know, but just know one string. Just think you want to just kind of slink up and down one string and get up to this E here. Or to the E here, you know. That kind of stuff. Anyways, get the idea, and then it breaks down the piano. You know, you cut out the piano's going, it comes back in. Then you get the Rhodes, and then it does hit this 1D, where it says bass enters, and then we've got just these little very quiet hits of D. Of course, you can always play D here. How am I going to do it? And then instead of hitting that D, it stops, and that's when the jam starts. And this is a really cool jam for bass because, you know, it's almost, you know, Mike's kind of soloing a lot over this thing. It's not like a full-fledged solo all the time, but it's you know, taking a prominent lead, kind of doing some melodic stuff and some things with chords and things. But let's give it a listen. We're going to break this into 3 chunks: the super mellow part, the building part, and then more the peak, and then to the last little part where it goes back to the F, G, A kind of stuff. So let's give the real mellow section a listen to. Just some ideas of what I'm doing, and I'll show you the ideas of what I'm doing afterwards. So here, the name of the game is just A. We're just, the whole thing is focused around A, G, D, and E, but it does not just start with that, It really, it's like painting around, and you can't see the full painting, but it kind of becomes more and more clear as you go. It's like one of those 3D eye things, it was popular back in the 90s. You kind of had to get your eyes just right, and then finally you can see it, and it's like you can finally see the progression. You could hear it, towards the end of the jam. And of course, Phish jam, it's always going to be a little different, right? So just kind of focusing more on the A, right? And you can think of it A mixolydian, A, just pentatonic, whatever you want to do, And I would just up here, so just getting the A droning and then just playing stuff high up. I don't have a 5-string or 6-string, so I just like my 4-string. So I am a little limited. You could do more if you do have a bigger bass, but you just do what you got if you got 4-string too. And just playing around, up top there, and just kind of let it go, and then as it kind of takes shape more and more, it starts kind of, you start hearing the progression a little bit. So let's listen to the building part where it's going to build up, and we're going to hear that more. Getting down here, and I'm now just playing more, getting those, the fills, those A major pentatonic fills, and then eventually just getting that, not G, but D and E, and playing them however, just playing them open D here, open D, low E, however. Again, this is not an exact science, just kind of mix it up. Things like that. But let's listen to the last part where we're really hitting it hard now, getting into that progression, and then we get the hits at the end to just bring it back home. So now I'm doing some things like this is just more just my thing. I didn't like hear Mike doing this, but just playing an A and just really droning in on A and E. And sometimes even while this is going and getting into the progression more, you can sometimes just hang on the A if you want. That's the thing that Mike does a lot. It's just a big thing. It's a big thing in jazz. It's just called a pedal, and you're hanging on it, and it builds that tension. And Page maybe still playing the progression over while he's just pedaling down the root of it all, and then lets it into the progression, and it kind of peaks it and releases all that tension. So sometimes I'm just kind of hanging on that, but I'm just doing this root fifth thing, and then I'm getting to the G this way, or this root fifth here, and then I'm going like this to D, but now playing the third of D, which is F sharp, but it's keeping this idea of moving down, and then moving it so it's D and F sharp, and then E to G sharp, the root and third of E. And, it's just one idea there, but so many things you can do here, but just focusing in more than anything on just hitting the roots A, G, D, and E. And then the very peak, we're just going back to that same hits of F, G, A, F, G, A, and then bringing it back to the A, and it finally sounds like it's done, you know, and then end it. And that's it. So hopefully that's helpful. And I've got the bass backing track, everything in there but the bass and all the charts, so you can follow along and just, you know, use it as a guide and use your ear. So if you got your bass now, you got time, check over the backing track. I'll put it in the description, a link to it as well. And have fun with it. And I'll see you in the next video.